Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun. Mag Dump! Hey, lock and load. We're reloading the first 3 volumes of a manga to see how they avoided a shallow grave.
That's an awful lot of tanko bonds on this battlefield. All right, recruits, clear the range because it's time for Naruto. You'd better believe it.
Howdy, folks, to the Shonen Jumping the Gun new side series, Mag Dump. I didn't know what I was going to say after that. I thought you would help me. I guess, why would you? Because normally I have to introduce you.
I don't know what we're doing.
I don't know it either.
Well, I have a vague concept of what we're going to talk about, but I don't know how we're going to frame it.
Yes, I'm going to be your regular host, Moxie the Yin, here with my super shinobi senpai, Isekai Sensei Sama Brad. Brad, welcome. It's like sometimes you want to stick to the track, but sometimes you want to be like, we're doing a side series. Let's shake it up a little bit.
It's a different thing.
It's a different thing.
This is long form. As if our normal episodes aren't long enough.
No, exactly. Well, see, there's no structure here. This podcast has no bones.
When we started Shonen Jumping the Gun, we were like, oh, they'll be like 15,
short,
20-minute episodes.
We set the timer. Now we're just like, whatever. We'll talk as much as we feel like we need to, which
now
I
it's
appreciate.
Like, 45 minutes? Whatever.
Fine. Yes, chef, yes. So, what the heck is Mag Dump? If this is your first podcast, I'm sorry. I'm not getting to the point quick enough. So Mag Dump was me me somewhat getting tired of constantly only reading one chapter and not being able to get deeper in. But it's also of reading and starting new series and seeing moments, especially from Shonen Jump, where it's like a series could have died and didn't, because we see so many things get cut down and see like how they handle it, and when you can see like we're leading up to a moment that this could be a big bad and this is where they could get off the plane, and then like they didn't. I feel like major inspirations for me were this is watching Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi get to live a little bit longer, because it was leading up to like, we're going to fight the big bad, and then he gets through it, but like he's right around the volume count where it could have been dead. And it's like,
and now again we're getting to that same thing.
We're getting to it.
But in this circumstance, it seems like it should go on for a while longer.
Yes, and also in one that like I know lives longer, from way back from our sports arc, rereading the beginning of Eyeshield 21 and seeing a point in around the mid to late 20s where they're taking on Ojo, their main rivals, and it's like, they could have won that game and the series would have been over if they had to end the series sooner. So it's just like this weird part of this series is like trying to find those weird vestigial tales of like, this is where we could have gotten off the bus, which is funny because in this first thing we're covering, I didn't find one. But also it's seeing like what makes these series work.
Yeah.
And we picked a big one. I feel like we're going to do this for pillars moving forward, and we might even go back and cover old pillars with this when the mood strikes. But if the title didn't already get you, we're covering Naruto.
I think the only way that we could have done a bigger pillar than this is if we had done Dragon Ball, but we sort of already did Dragon Ball to some extent.
Actually, we can't, because you've got plans for Dragon Ball one day. I would say the only thing that's bigger than this, that's akin to this, is One Piece, which we will do it someday.
Which the big difference being One Piece isn't over.
True, but it's still we'll get there. But like Naruto was something that I grew up with, and it's let's set the table on this. So like Naruto specifically me is like probably my first proper manga that I read. I remember when it started coming on in a block on Toonami. I think I was literally there night 1 for it, and I would always like tape that and Bobobo and whatever the third show on was from that little trio. And like going to Barnes and Noble and like, this is what a manga is, and being like amazed by it. So like this is me in like junior high, which is wild to think about going back to. Brad, what's your relationship with Naruto?
I never read the manga.
I learned that because I thought, like, you've already read this, and you're like, no, I only watched the anime. And I'm like, oh, interesting.
But it was definitely formative. The anime was formative for me. I don't think it was like my first anime, but it was definitely one of the big ones where it was like, this is an anime that I watch all the time.
Yeah, because it's like, I always have to make the thing of, like, when I was in elementary school, it's like, yeah, I watched Pokemon and Digimon, but, like, those were kind of, those kind of don't count, even though they are.
But even beyond those ones that like don't count, like Dragon Ball Z, I think I was probably watching Bleach and One Piece alongside Naruto, so it was in that formative time in my my late teens, young 20s, where I was like,
okay.
I watch anime. That's
you got them a little later than I did, it seems like, but yeah, I guess to set some stuff up, because it's what we do on the main show. Naruto is written and arted by Masashi Kishimoto. It ran from September 21st, 1999 to November 10th, 2014 for 72 volumes, and that does include Shippuden. It's weird. I don't, like, one day maybe I'll poke my head into that.
Does the manga separate them?
The Wikipedia sort of did. Like, it counts them together, but it made a point to go, this is the first part of the series, and then it has a second part that is Shippuden. So, like, I don't really know.
It never made sense to me watching the anime that they were like, this is Shippuden now. It's like,
because there was
why?
a big time skip.
But they did the time skip in the first one, and then they were like, and now we're gonna call it something different.
I mean,
like,
I was gonna say Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball Z is only a distinction in the West, and it's not even after the true time skip, because older Goku, not Kid Goku, already exists inside quote unquote Dragon Ball.
It's very similar to that then, because he came back from his training with Jiraiya. Spoilers.
I know.
Like in the just Naruto. Like
I never got to the, like, that's the thing. It's like I never read to the end or watched to the end of quote unquote original Naruto before the time skip. So like my knowledge of it gets hazier and hazier as you go deeper into the series, like venturing into a cave.
I really don't make a distinction between the two in my mind, because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's one contiguous story.
At least with Dragon Ball Z, like, we didn't really get Dragon Ball.
You could say you didn't need it but we were saying that because we grew up with it and we kind of figured it out, but it's like you still don't fully understand Piccolo until you go back and go, oh, there's this entire thing that happened.
But also Z is, there's
made
like
up.
A distinct difference.
We can say that, but also Z is not real. It's all in Japan. It's all Dragon Ball.
The one thing that I will say for those executives who made that stupid decision was Z does do a lot of different things.
It's when it becomes spacey.
Yeah. So it sort of does make sense to separate that.
It's not a bad spot to put that if you're going to.
In Naruto, the only difference is, they're older now. But then at the same time,
One Piece has literally a time skip that's 2 years and change, and it's still just One Piece. There's no distinction.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can get into that more later. So we read the first 3 volumes for this. The last of the 3 volumes we read came out in Japan on August 4th in the year 2000.
In the year 2000.
In the West, it wasn't until April of 2004 we would get the same volume in America.
Jeez.
Like, wild, the turnaround. The anime
starts... It used to be hard out there for weebs.
Yeah. The anime started in October 2002 in Japan and wouldn't get dubbed in America until 2005.
I want to say...
I could have sworn when I wrote these down originally that the anime started before the manga did. But I guess I had that backwards. Or I hadn't put the numbers together.
I want to say that I started watching it not too long after the anime started. And like it was, I'm blanking on the name. Not Scanlators, but their anime equivalent.
Yeah, the translation groups. Naruto got its anime started 3 years after it started. Sakamoto Days is older than that, and Akane Banashi is about that length, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird? Like, that's the thing where I'm just like, and it has a video game, because I also wrote down, because one of the things that I did to prep for this was I went back and I poked at some of the old Clash of Ninja games. I find it interesting that the first class of ninja game on the GameCube, or Naruto Gekito Ninja Taisen in Japan, came out in Japan 3 years later in April of 2003, despite having a roster of essentially just those first 3 volumes. We would get it in the West later in 2006.
I think there's just so many more series now that, like, you know, we look
was
at that.
Was Naruto already big then, or were they banking on it? Because it's like, you're not getting a fighting game that's all for this.
I think it was pretty popular pretty quickly.
I mean, I guess it had the anime. I guess we had, like, I don't know what the Jujutsu Kaisen video game was. I never played it. And I think that's just because I'm an adult now and I'm not going to spend $50 on an arena brawler like I would have when I was a child, when I didn't care about money or time as much. But I really find that fascinating where we have these new guys that are just not quite making it. It's like, here's Naruto, and maybe just because it was such a hit where it's just like, make the anime, make the video game of it. And the video game was probably based around where the anime was at by that point, because it's essentially the cast of you've got Naruto, you've got Sasuke, you've got Sakura, you've got Kakashi, you have, I think Iruka's in that first game. Yeah, Iruka's in that first game. You get Zabuza, you get Haku, and then the secret unlock that's like the little wink from the manga is Rock Lee is an unlockable character in it. But like, that's beyond our first 3 volumes that we covered, but it is mostly just the Great Ninja Bridge arc, whatever the heck it's called. I don't actually know. I just find that really fascinating. I don't know.
It's the Great Naruto Bridge.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It got named. It doesn't get there yet, Brad. We didn't get there. So I didn't write like a big summary.
That's
really
good,
just
because
did
if you
bullet
did a
points.
full summary, we'd be here for 45 minutes.
Brad, I already hate summarizing one chapter of a manga, so I literally just did. And also, I read some of this on a boat where I could not write things down or be at a keyboard that was meaningful.
I hope you enjoyed my Star Beethoven summary.
I did. I was entertained by it. It kept me sane on the bus ride to the airport.
I worked real hard on that.
Yes. So I just sort of like bullet pointed the chapters and major things happening. So like, I don't know if you want me to go through these or if certain things hit and we want to get to them as it happens.
I think a general summary is probably in order.
Okay.
Just to give an idea of what's going on.
And then we can jump around as we want.
Yeah, because what we don't want to do is explain everything that happens in every chapter.
No, we're not doing that. Literally all of these are one sentence. Some of them are just a few words. So literally the first chapter is Naruto is a crappy ninja and he's all alone and he gets tricked by this other guy to steal this great scroll that lets him learn how to do clones really well. And then he graduates ninja elementary school, which it's really wild to think back that there's just a paper sitting around that you could read and just become really good at something all of a sudden.
So, and that's
a hidden secret.
This is important because it does show that he put in work. Like he had that scroll like overnight. And
yeah, he did work really hard.
He like studied it and worked at it and trained in that time. And it's still like, yeah, that seems like a little too quick. But
he still sucks at a lot of other things.
There's also the fact, and I feel like this was glossed over in a lot of ways, and I see this not really called out in discussions whenever I see, discussions about the beginning of Naruto and everything. It's like, I think there's a lot more than just the Kage Bunshin jutsu in that scroll. I think Kage Bunshin was just the first
only thing he read. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I love the other ninja who's not important. I think his name is Mizune or something. Like, he's like a weird little relic.
He comes back in a filler. It's actually,
of course he comes back in filler.
It's actually not too bad.
Naruto is the poster child of why people don't like filler.
Yeah.
The Great Tea Race, I even though I've never seen it, the Great Tea Race is invoked by me a lot because of that.
There's some...
I'm not saying
Naruto
it's all bad.
has a lot of filler, but some of it's actually pretty good.
I'm sure. Sometimes Dragon Ball, you just got to go get your driver's license when you're Piccolo,
I really like the... or did I hear that wasn't actually filler? The ostrich ninja guy.
Who?
He's got like 5 bow ties on his neck.
No idea. It's filler. I have zero idea what you're talking about.
He's my favorite.
We're gonna get here. Let me get through the opening stuff like before we get into like the bridge mission, because I only have like 4 bullet points and I think there's a lot to get in there. So that's the first chapter. Is that the second chapter is meeting Konohamaru, and then we meet Sakura and Sasuke, and then we meet Kakashi and get the 2 bells challenge. That's like the first however many chapters.
Which is so weird that the Konohamaru is just stuck in there.
Chapter 2.
When you think back on it, it's like, wait a minute. He was that early?
Yes, but he's such like we're going to get into more of the like the ninja wonderful bullshit when we get to the bridge stuff, but like rereading these first couple of chapters, like as an adult, like my relationship to Naruto is so much more different because instead of him just being an annoying guy or a peer, he is now he's a child to me. He's a student to me. And especially seeing how Kakashi deals with him and like seeing him screw up but still care in the ways he does is like really interesting and validating. Like I really like Naruto even though he's a knucklehead. Because it's like I can genuinely feel his heart being in the right place while also just being and like seeing more of the pieces of not just like he didn't have parents. It's like, oh, I can see more clearly like how the city has treated him. And like some of it's stupid. It's like everybody was a secret. We can't talk about it. We're just gonna fuck this boy up because we can't talk. We have a secret, but the children don't know that at all, so they just make fun of him.
And you know, that's one of the most so I gotta say, like rereading this or reading it for the first time actually, revisiting.
Yeah.
There's so many points in the very beginning that are like, oh, they changed that later. They retconned
it
that
to an extent. Or yeah,
there's a bunch of stuff. But the biggest thing for me is like from chapter 1, even without the rest of the context of the series, as soon as they're like, oh, he's the demon fox, or well, first of all, a lot of people say you are the demon fox.
Yeah.
Which whatever, that one's not important. But the fact that no one's taking care of him.
Who raised him as a baby?
I'm just like.
He lives by himself, but he's a child. He's in ninja elementary school. Like, I know he's a ninja and he can kill people, but like, who's getting his groceries? He has no income.
You're telling me from chapter 1 that he has this like great powerful thing inside of him and you just leave him
poorly
to his own devices.
I know.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Stupid. Don't think about it. But yeah, like, because yeah, I know like more of it becomes dumb as you move further into the series and you get more context that is painted back into it later. But like, yeah, right out of the gate, it's like, what are you doing? How is he alive?
Because like the big retcon things are like, you know, obviously we know now that the fourth Hokage was Naruto's dad.
Do you think we always knew that?
I don't think they did.
I think we did.
I don't think they did.
I think he knew that. I think he knows that, and it's not. He just puts it so far in the back.
Because the key there is.
Do we know that? No, because we do know that it was the fourth Hokage who fought the.
Yes.
Okay, I think we know. Their designs are so similar. Like I swear, even back when I was a kid and we didn't know that, and it wasn't confirmed that we thought that back in the day.
There was no design for him in the beginning. If you look at the rock face up there, it's very vague.
I still think they knew.
Maybe, but then that Beleaguer,
they let that sit.
That Beleaguer's the point, though, because
I love it.
What you have is the third Hokage not taking care of the fourth Hokage's son, who is justifiably the most important person in that village.
Correct.
You have Kakashi, who was intimately acquainted with the fourth Hokage,
who doesn't know. But he knows that Naruto has the. Yeah, I guess when you put it like that, I don't know. I just feel like there's more seeds planted in the. Like I don't know how much, because it's like sometimes a seed planted is not the author in the moment doing that. Sometimes it's going, oh, I left an open thread here without thinking, and now in the future I'm plugging it in and connecting it.
It's
improv. It's jazz.
Too many.
Ode jazzes.
I'm not upset with the lore at the end, like the sequence of events that is now explained at the end, but just the way it is set up, it has to retcon things. It has to hand wave things away. You have to ignore things because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. And there's a bunch of them, and you just go, all right, I guess as I'm reading this, I'm just like, guess we're just going to ignore that later.
Our future vision kind of makes us, but like that's some of this series is also of doing mag dump is that like when you only have one chapter, you sit and you stew on it. But like when you have more chapters, it's like, why would I stay in chapter 1 when there is chapters 2, 3, and 4? Like I'm going to keep flowing down the river. Like as long as I wasn't just so annoyed, momentum will take me forward, and I won't linger on these things in the way that we do when we like. That was some of the reason why I wanted to do mag dump, is getting frustrated because it's like once you can move forward, once you just know that there is more, like you don't need to know anything in concrete. You literally just need to know this lived and there is more of it. And that gives credence to everything. I feel like this, in a crazy way, this comes back to our billion years old conversation about canon, is that what I'm reading now matters because there is many chapters in the future that will reward me for reading these instead of the series dying. Because I know when a series dies, there's a lot of times, unless I'm like have my researcher hat on, I'm like, well, I'm not interested anymore. There's going to be no payout. I know this ends prematurely. And that can give things a lot more lift by virtue of knowing they lived.
I will jump the gun on this, though.
Okay.
Because especially reading the first chapter, as I was reading it, I was like, I can see it.
Yeah, it's good.
Totally get it.
Those first 5 chapters, like, and it's like I was trying, and like also like I am infected. I am riddled with nostalgia about this series. Even if I feel weird.
I don't think chapter 2 was very good, but the rest of it.
I like chapter 2 is showing what if Naruto ran into a Naruto. And the fact that that's chapter 2 already, like, I love the emotion.
That's why I think it doesn't work.
That's why I love it, because it's this emotional depth of, like...
I get why they did it.
I like the emotional stuff with Naruto in the beginning, and not just because when I was a kid, I was just like, ninja fights, cool, all these colors, and it's like, I still like that now. But, like, just the emotional thing of watching him fuck up and learn and see how he can kind of understand things and that he can slowly make friends and help things out. Like... I just found him really. I wanted to root for him, even though he would fuck up a lot, and like in a way, like Kakashi, in a way that like a teacher does or a parent. And that was a really fun feeling. And maybe it's because I'm not actually a parent, and my organ that is for that is still full of the juice.
I mean, mine is too. That's not how it works.
I don't know how it works. I'm not a parent.
I will say, though, it was interesting. Let's just stick with the first chapter for a little while.
Yeah.
Because reading it. So, first of all, I'm looking at the art and I'm going, did this start the current modern manga style? Because it has that.
Does it?
Yeah.
This feels like, I probably wouldn't say it started because we don't know any of its contemporaries specifically, but like this does feel very, I mean, it's 1999, but like this feels like the 2000s
right.
to me. And maybe it's just because I read it then,
but I can see like the sort of mix where it's like, oh, there's bits of this older style in here, the kind of thing that I don't really care for.
It's a middle step.
But then like a lot of the character designs and the way the faces are drawn and the backgrounds that have a lot of details, not all of them do, but it just feels like, oh, this is like the start of the modern.
It's the new millennium, Brad.
Yeah.
What did I say? September 1999 or whatever. Like,
and I'm just wondering,
it's the manga of the new millennium.
If this is the thing that started it, or if there's something before this that we can find that is
most everything is born from its contemporaries, but something has to become the pillar that is the new style. So, like, I don't think Naruto
was this the pillar because it became so popular that people started aping the design.
I jokingly think of a very specific reference that has nothing to do with anime or manga of in Community in their Christmas Glee episode that I watch every year with my sister. They try to get to Pierce, is Chevy Chase's boomer character. And they're like, your generation invented music. And I think in this moment, he goes, maybe not invented, perfected maybe. And I feel like that's this. It's like, I don't think they invented this style, but they made it popular. I don't truly believe perfected. That's obviously not what I'm saying here. But like that idea of like, this is what could have crystallized it by virtue of popularity. But like, I think even then it looks really great. Seeing Hashimoto's drawings in the like for covers of things like the whole idea of like the Hashimoto, sorry, thank you. Like the toad stuff and the slug stuff and whatever. Sasuke has the snake.
I mean, eventually.
But like there's a cover where the three of them are riding on their respective animals a billion years before we're ever going to get to that in any meaningful way. Like it's just you can see these concepts and it's like that's what Future Vision helps me with, like churning around in Kishimoto's head.
Right.
I looked at it to make sure I got the name right that
time. But the thing was, and this is, I mean, it ties into the art, but I just think overall, reading the first chapter, and I mean, we're experts at this now. We've read so many first chapters. I was reading this going,
it has it.
This
is
is
it.
a first chapter.
This is the first chapter.
Totally a first chapter.
I'm emotionally brought in. The concept, like there's funny things, there's action moments. I'm emotionally invested. There's big hooks, there's little hooks, there's emotional hooks. Like,
yeah,
this is it. And we've done other pillars, and I don't know, like, maybe it's just because like I kept going, so I could feel the things set up in 1 moving into 2, 3, 4, and onward. But like, and some of this is like my little archaeological dig hat to go back to this thing. But like, genuinely, what was it? We read 27 chapters total.
Yeah,
which was the first 3 volumes. We stopped at the end of volume 3. Which, like, we'll get there then, but where it stops was, like, wild to me.
In the middle of a fight.
In the middle of a fight at a really important moment. But, like, that's the thing. It's like, I'm going to go, we'll finish the end of 3. They'll finish the bridge stuff with Zabuza and Haku, and that'll be a make sense where, like,
although, to be fair,
they could have gotten off there, but didn't.
First volume ends in the middle of their thing with Kakashi, so.
The bells?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hook.
There's so many hooks. There's so many, like, it's just like I was surprised because it's like I've soured on Naruto as I got older and heard people talking shit about it, and I'm like, you're right. There's a lot of dumb bullshit in here.
There is.
But like coming back to it and like
it's
going
fun,
in with
dumb
that,
bullshit.
it is though. Like I want to bury the lead a little bit. Like I want to keep reading. I stopped to fit the show, but I really want to keep reading. But like I was just so compelled by it. Like it was just so like it's and I like I said, it's like I wish I could give myself freaking brain damage amnesia that I could like remove my ability to know what happens next or have any future vision or nostalgia. And I went in going like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and I was just like, I just want to keep reading this. This is great.
So the thing was for me, like, now we didn't read Bleach, but from our understanding of the first chapter of Bleach,
we'll probably go back and cover Bleach at some point for Mag Dump. I really do want to do that.
But we didn't read it. Wink, wink.
No.
The first chapter, first chapter of Bleach, didn't strike me as like, oh, this is gonna do stuff.
Because
in the same way.
I read Bleach when I was younger, but like I wouldn't say I have nostalgia for Bleach, but like I have some future vision on it. And I guess I didn't have this feeling reading that. Admittedly, like Naruto is like my first major like proper shonen manga, so like whatever, grain of salt. But yeah, like I wish that's Mag Dump is us going through this and going, what is this doing and why is this working? He plants seeds at like just the right rate. He never spends too much time, but it's like, here are the ninja nations. Okay, we're moving on. Like he plants a bunch of seeds, but then he gives you just enough to move forward with what you're doing in the short hook of what we're doing right now. But he's planted those. I
do find it a little bit funny because they always explain these concepts like in the middle of something else.
Yeah.
So like they explain the rankings for like the cadets and
the missions
Chunin,
about where they fit, Chunin,
the Genin, Chunin, and Jonin. They explain that while they're finishing another mission and getting a new one.
Just put it in the world.
And it's like,
wild.
Shouldn't they have learned this in school?
Naruto's a stupid. Like it helps because Naruto's stupid, so we get to relearn ninja concepts for the audience, which is perfect.
No, however, then they start that mission, the bridge mission. They're walking along, and Kakashi explains the ninja nations to Sakura.
Oh yeah, you're right. You should know better because she's the one that's supposed to be the most astute of the trio.
Shouldn't you have learned this in school?
Talk to Haruka. Haruka's busy. You were telling me that before we started. Haruka's got to do a bunch of different things.
Oh, I'll get to that in a second. I mean, like world geography, not like very specific, but like here
are the nation states.
That's like elementary school stuff, and Ninja Cadet Academy is elementary school.
Yes, they are the ninja babies.
So like Sakura, at the very least, should have known this.
Yes. But
and it is explaining what the Kage are, and it's just like, okay, I mean, yes, we the audience needed that, but you all should have known this already.
Question: knowing if he knew where he was going in the initial part, which I think he did, do you think if Naruto was now, we would have already met Sakura and Sasuke and Kakashi in Chapter 1?
Oh,
because it feels like we would. Because I feel like everything either the manga is in a rush or we're in a rush, and we need to slow. And I say the royal we in this case because it's not always just us. Like I'm trying to learn that more. It's just like Slow down.
Okay, so I'll bring this up then because I got points from B for getting this correct. Somebody asked, I think it was a question of the day in the flop court, and they were like, "What do you think that modern manga do better now? Like that old manga didn't do well?"
Yeah.
And my answer, I think I was the first person to answer, is pacing.
See, I disagree with you, though.
No, but here's the thing. There's a lot there. I will definitely say there are a lot of modern manga, that don't do pacing well. But most of those fail. And the thing that the good ones do now, and in some ways this isn't great, but in a lot of ways this is better for a magazine, is they give you all the information you need and hook you immediately.
They have to.
And it's not that Naruto didn't do that. But if you compare it to a modern popular series, Naruto buried the lead a bit.
If Naruto is about the 3-man squad, it takes us a while to get there.
Right.
And by a while, I mean like, what, 4 or 5 chapters, if that? 3, 4?
I'd say 4. Like they started to introduce it in chapter 3.
In that
3,
context,
but it didn't
like
finalize until 4.
If Naruto is coming out now, that Konohamaru chapter would have lit the Discord on fire.
Yes.
In a bad way.
Yes.
Even though I loved that chapter. But everyone would have been like, what are you doing? And it's like, I love that chapter. I think it is meaningful to the journey.
But that might have been what happened
anyway. Get to the
anyway.
Ninja Fireworks Factory. Start doing more spells.
That might have happened originally, and that's why they immediately dropped the Konohamaru line.
He's planted, though. He's a seed that is... This guy is really good at planting seeds while he's moving along and doing other things. Like, and just feeling... And, like, maybe it's just because it's like... Because what? I reference Naruto a lot anytime we've talked about Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen, another series I want to do a mag dump on, especially, like, literally maybe... I don't know when it would be, but genuinely, I would love to do this...
It's completed now.
...directly after... like this Naruto one, because there's so much DNA connected to them, and it's like, what is Naruto a decade and a half later? How fast does it go? How fast do we meet everybody? And that's what I don't know the answer to that, and that's the science I want to do. That's the research. But it's like we meet Sasuke. Sasuke's backstory is like teased out little by little of like
it takes forever. I think it's chapter 26 where he's finally like, I need to kill my brother.
But I love how much they let it simmer because it's not important, but you can tell. I love it when an author tells you, it's one of the things I love about Oda's writing in One Piece. When an author tells you, I know this, I painted this entire painting in my head, but you only get to see this little spot because that's all I need to show you right now. I love that. Sometimes it's good for an author to play jazz and just like fucking bebop it like Dragon Ball stuff. Where it's just like, okay, I picked up this piece. Okay, we're doing this now. Like, there's fun in that. I think there's a good... Being able to improv well is important to all this. But, like, the thing of, like, I painted this entire backstory, and you're just not going to see it right now. Fuck you. You don't deserve it right now. That's not what this... The story is not about that right now, but it will be about it in the future. And I've planted the seeds and tended them in just the right way, so you know about it, but you're not being banged over the head with it. Like, it's... I did not expect to come into this Naruto episode, like, glowing as much as I am about, like, this is how you write a fucking shonen manga. This is how you do it. Steal from this. Which Jujutsu Kaisen did until it got tired of itself, and then that's when the wheels came off.
Yeah. Okay. Before we move on to the next chapters,
yes,
I do have to say,
talk about Iruka.
Iruka Sensei.
He's got it rough.
I noticed that when they started to get the mission, it popped into my head because it's like, okay, Iruka Sensei is teaching the cadets. He's like the main teacher of the little kids, right?
Yes, he's the teacher of Ninja Elementary School.
Right. So then Naruto graduates, but then he's in a classroom where they're going to be told about how they're going to be getting 3-man squads and everything, and it's Iruka Sensei.
Yeah,
is with the older kids. Okay. Hand wave that away. He's the homeroom teacher, right? Because they're there, but then they're going to go off with a Jonin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And then they come back from a mission, and they're going to get a new mission, and there's the Hokage, Lord Third, is there.
He's just chilling in the job market for some reason.
But who's next to him, giving out jobs? But Iruka Sensei, and I went, why are they making Aruka Sensei do everything?
Aruka-san ain't got no wife. He just kind of loiters around town doing odd jobs. Aruka's a chunin, right?
Oh, and that's the other thing. So Kakashi's a Jonin, which is the top level.
Yeah.
Why is Aruka Sensei still a chunin?
I want to see Aruka Sensei's chunin exams. Like, I don't care about all these bigger, more important, more powerful ninja. Who did Aruka fight and how? He has no special techniques. What did he do to become a chunin?
Well, and that's the thing. Is like
because
he's just a regular ninja.
He's just a guy. He's just a dude. In the video games, he does weird. Like, there's nothing specific to him.
He's still a ninja.
Yeah. But like
he does ninja stuff.
He has nothing special to himself.
And I think that's maybe what he's there for, is just to be the regular ninja.
But that's why I want to see
build
like
everyone
paint
off
the world
of.
Like, who did he beat and how? And maybe it's just because like our sensation is painted by like hi, side note, we don't learn any of the other ninja teams. They don't even show up in the background, who become super iconic things about what makes Naruto Naruto is all the other teams and picking who your favorites are.
Because I specifically
you've got a crush
looked
on when you're in junior high.
When they're in the various classrooms, I specifically was like,
yep,
okay,
no, me too. I was scanning everybody.
None of these people.
Nobody even a little bit. They have not been designed yet. They have not been thought of yet.
Not even like Ino was in there with like, Sasuke. It's like, no, these are just random girls.
And just all at once, just like out of like freaking Oda with the supernovas. It's just like, oops, here's a bunch of super iconic characters that'll be forever. We just made them in a big set. Wild. Insanity. The fact that we went 27 chapters and we did not meet a single one of these things that feel like such an important part of what makes Naruto.
Which I think that actually makes some sense. And we'll get into this a little bit later with the later chapters.
But that just continued to be wild. Like, everything moves so fast. Like, wow, how many? I'm going to look it up right now so I can know the exact number at the time of this recording. But like, the number of characters that has been thrown at my brain because it's my poster child right now for this in fudge. Why can't I think of the name? I'm blanking uber hard right now. The series that I like.
A current series?
Yes. Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi.
Okay.
We are 32 chapters in, so we are just beyond.
There's like 45 characters.
Before these like fast 5 chapters, there is a billion people, and we do not spend time with them.
Yeah.
And in Naruto, we spend time. We have a very small set that grows a little bit, and occasionally we get some other yahoos that come in and out. But it's like those yahoos are not very designed, so you know they're not important.
And they
Kyoshi
specifically
just constantly throwing designed yahoos, and I love Kyoshi, but it's just like when I have this and I can just go. Slow down.
Yeah.
Slow the F down. Have some content inside of you. I love your designs. Let me appreciate them and keep track of who these people are because you introduce 3 people and they're gone in 3 chapters and they come back and I'm like, who the fuck are these people? I love you, but
They specifically didn't introduce new characters so they could keep Haruka Sensei around.
They waited. Patience. You take an hour to get to the chocolate factory, and that's how they did in the 70s.
Yeah.
And maybe we're all fucked now because we can't do that.
Yeah.
Are we the problem? Whatever. Let's keep going. That's the ending.
Not. We're reading this and we're going, this is great. Do this. We're not the problem.
But sometimes I'm impatient when I read a chapter.
Japanese teenagers are the problem.
I guess. I don't know.
The TikTok generation.
Kind of, yeah, actually.
I'm so old.
Yes. TikTok music.
Turning
what the fuck?
38 in 2 months.
Nice. Have fun with that. Do we want to talk more about Sakura and Sasuke? Because I feel like once we get into the big arc, that'll flow along a little bit more through all the chapters.
Yeah, because I already jumped ahead to they're going on this bridge mission.
Yeah.
But there's a middle part here before that.
You get to meet them. Before you meet Kakashi, you meet them. And you get the whole thing of like Sakura is pining after Sasuke and Naruto wants Sakura to like him in that way that boys do when they're younger, I guess. Sakura is there to be the Krillin. Sakura is there to be the Speedwagon. She is there to comment. She is the audience surrogate to an extent. I appreciate that at least Sakura has the wrinkle of inner Sakura being able to be like, this is what I'm actually thinking.
Yeah.
And that's makes her commentary a little bit and her place in things a little bit more interesting.
And we have to point out, true Naruto fans will be very angry with us if we don't point this out. Sakura is not as annoying in the manga as she is in the anime. Annoying and useless.
Yeah, I guess I don't notice her as much as being a problem. Maybe just because I can't hear her. But yeah, it's definitely not. And maybe maybe the anime tried to play that more for comedy.
There's
and it wasn't
specifically
funny.
Things that they cut out of the anime that in the manga show that Sakura is like
capable to an extent,
and like cares and wants to do good. And
yeah, and also has like a debilitating crush on Sasuke to her own detriment.
Yeah. I think but
also seeing her come around to Naruto even a little with what we read was like, it was cool.
Yeah, I think in these first 3 volumes, the only thing that they really stuck with from the manga that like in the anime shows that Sakura is somewhat capable is the whole chakra to walk up a tree.
Yeah, she gets the
thing.
whole idea is that she's the most standard of the 3 of them, so she's the most balanced, so she can walk up the tree first because she's a girl and she, whatever, yada yada yada. Like Sakura's fine. I don't know. I know she gets messed up because she's a girl in a shonen manga, and I hate that. But whatever. I can't do anything. I liked Sasuke more. Maybe it's just because now I'm an adult and I can not have to deal with actual people that are that brooding in my life.
I always liked Sasuke up until the Sasuke retrieval arc.
Yeah.
Which is where I was just like,
you idiot.
You fucking idiot.
But like,
what are you doing?
He's a brooding boy, but he's like, as an adult, I can go, oh, you're just a little boy and you have this big weight on your shoulders and you're teasing it out slowly and it's not just this big like emo hammer all at once. But I know when I was younger, like, he was the poster child of like, he's the brooding boy all the girls like and stuff like that.
But honestly, it wasn't that bad in this beginning part. Like,
no, it's fine. That's the thing. It's great. I liked it. It made a good. He's a really great foil to Naruto personality wise, and then also seeing both Naruto and Sasuke start to work together and understand the other one again feels great. I love that. They're not like 100% like, oh, the hatchet is buried forever, we're fine. It's just like everybody like seeing them start to get along and team up correctly was cool.
I think one of the good things here that other series fail with their rival is they show that Sasuke isn't perfect. He does fail at things.
Because he's a freaking kid.
Yeah.
They're all children.
It's like, yeah, he learns things faster and there's some things he's really good at and everything, but like he's not perfect. The adults are still more capable than him. Like, and so it doesn't, holding him up against Naruto, he doesn't feel like an impossible goal. A
rival is not just, here's the impossible plateau the whole time. A rival is somebody who is just close enough to you, but maybe just out of reach that keeps you moving. That's what a rival is in life. I hear stories about that in like fencing or like fighting games. I'm like literally in fencing right now. I have a buddy who's fencing and he feels like he's stagnating out because he does not have a rival. Everybody else who's been doing it for a while will kick his butt, and everybody who's new he will just stomp without thought. He needs a rival that is around his level that will keep pushing him, who's just kind of out of reach, but occasionally it is in his reach. Like, that's what you need, and I feel like Sasuke hits that really well of like, here is this other moving piece that keeps you pushing yourself forward. Like, a rival is meant for motivation.
Yeah, Arrival, that movie about aliens. So yeah, we meet Sasuke and Sakura, and then they're put into this 3-man cell with Kakashi
Sensei
leading them.
Covers his eye and his mouth,
and
he's my favorite.
What I
found
love
Kakashi.
Yeah, what I found really interesting with this is that Kakashi's introduced as like a real hard ass. Like he's never passed any of the kids that he was tasked with.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he's like right off the bat, he's like, you guys suck.
What does it mean that he's
awful.
Never passed anybody? Because he sticks with them for a long time.
Well, so that's
like when I noticed that, and obviously like later on, because it's like you don't know that he's going to stick with them when he writes it originally, because the manga didn't exist yet, didn't write it yet. So it's like what is happening to these squads that they can fail?
Well, I think the way that it's explained is that when you first get into this squad, you're being evaluated by your Jonin.
Yeah.
And the Jonin can like fail you and send you back to school.
But do we ever see that? Because the Jonins, because it's like,
I think we do.
All the Jonins
because we never see
the team.
any of those other ninja kids again.
No, but like every Jonin we meet with their 3 Chunin, or not even Chunin, Genin, they are a pod for the rest of the series.
Right. And I think that's...
So it's like, when did you have time to do something if you're sticking with people? And I guess if they just kept failing or whatever,
right.
like the Bell's test, and he just sends them back. But like, he's a hard ass, but also he's just sort of weird. Like, I love that he's just reading smut. I love that little detail.
It might have been set up that way the whole time, because they do this bell test where he's got 2 bells there's 3 of them. They need to get the bells from him or else they don't get lunch. But one of them will definitely fail and not get lunch because there's only 2 bells. And then, like, when they're done, he explains when they fail, he's like, you were supposed to work together. And the whole thing is meant to make you not work together because there's only 2 bells, but you're supposed to.
I'm trying to trick you. You need to put the mission above your individual state. So that's why you have to work together to solve the problem, which is collectively get the bells.
And then they only pass because they
start working together.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But they share their lunch with Naruto, who's not supposed to get any. At which point, Kakashi's whole demeanor changes. So maybe Kishimoto was setting it up that way.
But also, this is a man that when you meet him for that bell challenge is reading romance novels that may or may not be smut, and also has a move called 1,000 Years of Death or Pain, depending on your translation localization, where he goes to shove his fingers up Naruto's supple child bottom.
I mean, you didn't have to put it that way.
I didn't need to. I don't know why I decided to do that. Fucking send me to prison. I don't know. I think it was just to be like, this is a really weird thing to happen for a character that is usually so stoic.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess I'm going to have the English voices in my ear for the rest of time. So, like, he just talks he's very, you know. He's also the Gojo prototype, essentially. I love Kakashi. Kakashi is great. I love all of the shtick that you learn about him in this first part. Like, again, like, information is doled out at just the right rate for everyone. And I have no idea how or why. I never felt like I got too much info dumped at any given moment, which is a problem a lot of manga seem to have.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, blah, and it's like, I don't care yet. Slow down. Make me care first, and you can drip feed me.
It is. I will circle back to that a little bit. The pacing in this is really good.
It's immaculate.
Even though it's slower than modern pacing.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because it's consistently interesting and has things to say and is either emotionally cackling something or just generally like having fun or having a fight. Like, and it never gets bogged down on any one of those things for too long. Yeah. Like, it glides along like a song. I have no idea how.
I think I could see a way that some things could be done faster without hurting anything, but I don't think the way that it's done is like it works.
The thing where I got the most confused about pacing, so let me move forward from the bell challenge. So then we learn about ninja missions. They get the mission to escort the bridge builder. They're attacked by the poison ninja duo who I completely forgot about. Yes?
The first mission they do is to catch that cat.
Yes, is that cat important?
The woman who owns the cat is the Land of Fire's like shogun.
Oh yeah, like their leader.
Yeah,
leaders or leader's wife.
The wife.
Yeah, are shoguns important?
I mean,
I guess because every nation is a nation, and they have like a ninja village inside of them, acting essentially as their military.
Yeah, but I was just when I read that,
I know it feels like such an important lore thing, and I was like, what the heck?
She's the fucking queen, basically.
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh, we rescued your cat, and nobody cares.
Yeah,
nobody gives a shit who
She's not a ninja. Not a ninja. Emperor. The shogun is the ninja. I don't know. She could be called the shogun, but like conceptually speaking, I feel like the people leader is the emperor, but the ninjas are the shogun, and they have the military power, so they're the ones that matter.
They specifically say what the name of the position is in there, but I
don't remember either. Not important.
But like later on, that guy is sort of important.
Okay, that was a part where I didn't get to because I don't remember that at all. Maybe because he wasn't in the fighting games, I never learned who he was.
But yeah, I mean, like he rules the country. Like
technically,
of course he's important.
Technically, he rules
and they just gloss over the fact that she's just hanging out there,
not a ninja.
In like, and it's not even like the setup they have for the mission, doling out and paying for it and everything is so weird and small, and I'm
so
just like
strangely rinky-dink.
This is weird.
We haven't designed any other ninjas, so there can be no other ninjas here for you to see.
And the Hokage's he's
just chilling. Yeah, I know, he's just chilling around,
reading
he's
stuff.
palling around.
Oh, and he keeps using this crystal ball.
Yeah.
Which I'm like,
freaking Baba over here.
They have like clairvoyant stuff
they
later.
Have television screens, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do.
I swear there's TV screens in the channel. Like, don't think about it too hard. Not even like the whole whatever the heck happens with Boruto. Right. But like genuinely now, it's like the technology is don't think about it. It's not important. It's cool.
After these first couple chapters, the crystal ball thing just
goes away.
Shows
even
up
though it could be super useful in scrying information all the time. Don't think about it. they're escorting the bridge builder. They're attacked by 2 poison ninjas, which I completely forgot about. They were never in a fighting game, and they're never referenced again, so who cares?
But it's really important. Those are the first enemy ninja that we ever see.
True, actually, yes.
And they actually, they have a really cool gimmick. The main problem, and like they could be really powerful. The problem is that Kakashi is really smart.
Yeah.
And he was like, there's a puddle there. There shouldn't be any puddles.
Just chumps him.
There's some shit going on here. So he was completely ready for everything.
He's up on it. And that makes him a character that is supposed to be smart, that we are shown by them being smart.
Right.
And clever in a way that, like, I have this information in my head that makes sense if you have it in your head to be able to suss this thing out. We learn at that point that the bridge builder has a hit put on him by the crime lord Gato, which it's like, oh, this should have been a much higher level thing. You guys shouldn't. You're in above your heads right now. This is not as easy as it seems.
Feels really fitting for current events right now. Of like the richest person in the world is just harassing these low level people in this small village because they want to build a bridge and he doesn't like that.
Yes, correct. Zabuza attacks. The Sharingan is revealed. What a classic of literally all anime is the Sharingan. Like, literally, there was an old streaming group I followed where the Sharingan showing up as a visual was like a meme of itself. Like, I just can't get over, like, the fucking Sharingan. Hell yeah. Shout outs to Sharingan. Zabuza is defeated because Naruto is clever and Sharingan mirroring. Haku arrives mysterious. Well, we don't know it's Haku yet, but like obviously I know it's Haku.
I want to point something out here because I think something that is shown really well in these first three volumes, but is sort of glossed over by a lot of people when they talk about Naruto. Naruto, like, comes up with good plans and figures
He's clever.
Shit out.
Like when they work together. To quote Hamtaro, it's much better. But like genuinely, like he has moments of brilliance.
Even when he's going against Kakashi.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Kakashi beats him, but like he had a good idea of how to go about it.
Zabuza or Kakashi the shadow? No, I think it's Kakashi that's the shadow shuriken, right? Where he's like, oh, I made a clone, and then my main body turned into the shuriken, but I was the shadow. So you followed that, and then like
Sasuke throws the shuriken, and Naruto is turned into the shuriken. That's the shadow.
The shadow of the shuriken, but then attacks Kakashi with one of his clones to distract. Like
that's a different fight. That's the previous one.
No, I swear that's all together though, because he makes you get a little diagram explaining that he makes the clone. He attacks Kakashi with the clone. He makes his main body into the shuriken. And, like, it's a genuinely very clever plan.
You're conflating two different things.
Then.
So, the first one, there is during the bell test. Naruto gets knocked into the water. While he's under the water, he does Kagebushin.
Yeah. Shadow clone.
And then just one of him comes up out of the water. And he's like, I'm going to do it. And then a whole bunch of them come out to go after Kakashi. While that's going on, one of them goes around the back, like sneaks around. And while Kakashi's dealing with a bunch of these ones going, that one grabs him from behind.
Okay, I could have sworn that's related to the Shadow Shuriken one, but
now,
whatever.
What Naruto didn't know at the time was Kakashi totally knew what was going on and replaced himself with one of Naruto's shadow clones that he disguised as himself.
Yes.
So then when Naruto goes to punch him...
You were clever, but I was genuinely one step ahead in that way. And like that's problem solving. That's not... You didn't just create a problem to solve it to make yourself look clever like sometimes manga can do, where it's like, I did this incredibly complicated thing. It's like, this is a course of events that genuinely like goes like, that's... you. When you read it, you go, that's clever.
So then the next part, they're fighting Zabuza. Kakashi has been captured in this water prison. And Zabuza has to keep his hand on it to keep him locked up.
Yeah.
But he's got this clone that he's using to harass the rest of them. Naruto, he went and grabbed his headband, which got knocked off. And while that's happening, he made himself a clone that the clone turned into one of the giant shurikens.
That's what I'm thinking. But I think he says his main body does that because I don't think his clones can do that yet. So he makes a clone that looks like him, and then his main body turns into the shuriken.
I don't think so, because shadow clones, all of them are identical. Like, they're real. They are him.
Yes. I don't know. You read it more recently. I read this a week ago when I was on the boat. So, grain of salt, I guess. But that was what my memory's telling me.
But the point is,
genuinely clever.
Very often, the discourse around Naruto is, he just punches stuff. It's the Goku thing. It's just, if I just punch hard enough.
No.
But it's like, no, Naruto actually
Naruto's a problem solver.
Comes up with interesting plans and does ninja shit.
He does the things that I love in manga where they make little Rube Goldberg machines.
A lot of times,
concept.
He does end up just going, here's 500 shadow clones to beat you up. But like,
you have to solve a puzzle first. It's what I thought Demon Slayer was going to be in the beginning when Tanjiro throws the axe into the air.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I thought, this is going to be one of those series, and then it never was again.
With the smelling thing too, they sort of didn't do very much of that anymore. Every once in a while he's like, I see it. But then they'll be
he
like,
smells weird things that aren't smells.
But then it'll be like, I hit the place where I smelled that I should hit him, and it still didn't work.
He smelled the thread of fate, a thing that sure you can smell it, whatever. Haku, which we know is Haku because we have future vision, but at the time you don't know because it's just a mysterious masked individual, arrives, takes Zabuza's course. We plant seeds that ninja corpses retain information, which technically is only important in that moment as a red herring that you think he's dead. And I don't think he was thinking about it yet, but like that technically plants seeds for 1 billion years from now when Orochimaru uses the corpses of the first 2 Hokages to fight. And it's like, cool, like you've planted this seed that you pick back up on later. Like I don't think he has the idea to do that. I think that was improv jazz, but like what a seed to plant in this singular moment that can be important now of like, well, they have to get rid of the body. He had superpowers on him. We had to get rid of it.
That's actually,
isn't that so cool?
I didn't think about that, but that's actually
instantly where my brain went.
Means the fact that they like buried the Hokages, first and second Hokage. Well, and I
stupid
guess
because
fourth.
Kakashi that lives in that village should already know about it.
Well, no, but the fact that they buried them instead of like giving them a funeral pyre or something is like.
I mean, maybe it's a sign of respect of just like, and we're going to defend you, like you were such an important thing to us. I don't know.
Oh, that actually reminds me of something. I can
jazz my way out of it if I need to. I guess is my point.
We have to go the whole way back to Konohamaru.
Goodness.
Because the guy that's his tutor,
Ibusu,
yeah,
get him in the Ibusi.
He at one point he's like, I've trained all of these people who were potential to be Hokage, and I'm just like, there's been 4 of them. What are you talking?
4 of them, and one of them died, so the third one had to come back,
which didn't even make any sense at the time because we already established there's only 4 of them.
And so, you're younger than him, which means you didn't train the first 2 because they pretty much because they're not around, which maybe you just didn't see them. But it's like I would think they'd have to be older than this old guy that you are notably younger than.
It was just like what. What are you talking about?
Maybe it's just like he's a high-end tutor, and these are people that are being bred to be, even though they never will be.
But there was a part there where I was like, they're trying to set up like this grander history.
Yeah,
but like there's not enough.
He hasn't figured it out yet. In that case,
yeah,
that's pure jazz. There's nothing. We're just scatting. We do chakra control training as Kakashi is recovering from his fight from Zabuza, and we learn the bridge builder's grandson's backstory about why he's such a little shit. Haku and Zabuza return to do battle. Naruto slipped in and is in behind and stops the mother and child from being abducted. Haku fights Sasuke, and after getting beat a bit, Haku does the ice mirror technique. Naruto finally appears and instantly decides getting into the ice mirror with Sasuke is a good idea. I love that because Kakashi's like, you idiot. You could have had the element of surprise and you've just shown up and announced yourself. And then the second move Naruto does is goes, I need to go into that dangerous place with my buddy Sasuke instead of literally getting any other information. Which is like, that is a maximum Naruto move.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that he did a stupid thing. He showed himself to be clever, and in this moment he was just like, I have to get in there and just get my fucking shit rocked. Because he's a big dummy, but I love it. Kekkei Genkais are mentioned, which is the bloodline techniques, which is a thing.
They did
bloodline
actually
techniques is a
say
thing.
it.
They say Kekkei Genkai, but I love it. Like, bloodline techniques is a thing that I got from Naruto and still reference now in other things. Like, I made a billion years ago, I made a wrestling panel that I never truly gave and it was like part of it was like wrestling is anime, and I had a panel about like wrestlers who have bloodline techniques of moves they got from either their parents or from like important mentors, and it's like I love that stuff. And just as the last chapter's ending, QB, the demon fox, whatever, I don't even think it's called anything, starts coming out just as the last chapter of the volume ends.
Kishimoto did not know what he was doing with that at the beginning, because like I said, in the first chapter, he's like, everybody who knows the secret is like, Naruto is the demon fox that's been like turned into a boy.
No, they don't say that he's the baby's he was put into the baby. Do we not know that?
Not until like chapter 3 or 4 or something.
I think the anime talks about it sooner than.
Yeah.
You said 3 or 4.
Then the third Hokage is like, the fourth Hokage sacrificed his life to seal the tails in Naruto's belly button. And it's like, that's not what actually happened.
Oh, I don't know what happened more particularly. I just always thought it was like a concept of like the energy of the demon was sealed into this child.
I mean, that's
I don't know if there's more detail. There's probably more detail and nuance to that you learn later.
It's basically its soul is being sealed.
Yeah. And then I think Kakashi makes a couple of references of like Naruto has a lot of chakra, or like he has a lot of extra untapped power because of
they didn't explicitly come out and say that's why yet, but
I think it's implied. I think
maybe,
and I don't know how much of that is future vision of like little comments that Kakashi makes, but it's just like, I guess now that we finish it, it's like my point of just like, we're 3 volumes in. A lot of things in Shonen Jump die, unless they're like U19, die around 3 volumes, around this chapter count. And I thought, they'll have finished the bridge, and that's where they could have gotten off the train. No, we're towards the end of it, but we're not in a spice. Like, we're literally just heating up at the climax of this arc. Like, we're not getting off the train right now, and there's nowhere to get off the train. Like, I guess maybe the Zabuza fight, but even then, like...
Well, but that's the thing, is you could wrap up the bridge stuff with Zabuza and the Land of Waves.
Just not having Haku at all?
No.
If you had to get off the train?
I'm saying within the next volume you could.
Yeah, but now we get to live a little bit longer.
The next volume would still be in flop territory.
You say that, but like generally for what we've covered and seen in our generation of it.
I mean, I
know their things is whatever 30 something.
35 chapters would be 4 volumes.
I'm just saying a lot of things, even the things we enjoyed. I think specifically what comes to mind is Martial Master Asumi is like, it's 3 volumes. 2 on Ice is about 3 volumes. Like,
I think that's definitely what happens.
Fabricant 100 is 3 volumes. Like that's why that was part of the reasoning why I wanted to do. I think you helped me crystallize it was 3 volumes, but I was thinking it's like around 25 to 30 chapters, and you said 3 volumes, and I thought that was a good idea.
But especially with the way that at the very end of this volume we see his demon fox powers come out. We're literally starting to
pop off.
You could end this series in 4 volumes. Like
you could
end it because you've doled out enough of the things that you hinted at before.
But it doesn't feel like, and I don't think this is why I'm clouded by future vision. Like it doesn't feel like with that popping off that we could be ready to stop.
Well, no, they shouldn't.
But I guess that's the thing. It's like, but I mean, that's the thing with freaking, I just want to say Kishimoto, Kiyoshi, like where it's just like, that felt like it was, that was something I wanted to say with all this, with the pacing. We are nowhere near a sense of being near anything endgame feeling.
No, not at all. But
and so much stuff now is constantly feeling like we have to get as fast as we can to whatever the biggest feeling bad is. And it's just like, we did 27 chapters where the biggest bad we have is like there's a crime lord and the strongest guy is Zabuza and Haku, who become small potatoes but still feel valid in the moment. They're not...
I mean, he's hurting Kakashi.
He's troubling Kakashi. He's fucking up Sasuke and Naruto, like, collectively. Whatever that Sakura, I guess Sakura has to guard the bridge keep. Like, I think that's why when stuff like that happens, or like as much as I'm loving Ichi the Witch, like, Ichi, we are, I guess, a similar amount of chapters in. We're 20-something chapters in. We've met the king of all magic and the world ender magic. And it's like we are not even the like we're an ant compared to those in fighting Zabuza and Haku to where Naruto will go, but also where it feels like we are now. Like it feels like there is so much power ceiling that we just have a vague sense of and have not seen. And I think that's where I come down to this pacing where it's just like, do not run as fast as you can at the strongest thing right away. And unless you are going to go, here is a little kiss, we're not going to see MJ and Demon Slayer for ages.
I feel though that like the way this arc is going, the bridge arc, is that like I could see around these chapters Kishimoto going, I don't know if I'm gonna get canceled, so here's a setup where
I didn't get that sense at all. He's planting too much. The fact that it's like Kekkei Genkai, we're learning about that. We're learning about this.
You don't want to expect to be canceled, but like the it could end in a way that isn't just, oh, it's over. Like
true, I guess if you get a couple more chapters after the end of volume 3, you could but I don't feel that in the way that I've seen some other stuff end where it feels like we're moving in the end game because we have to.
Yeah, no, and we see that a lot more.
We're not running
now.
to the end of the power scale that he already thought of.
Right.
And I think that's what I really loved about this and going back to it. It's just like it's taking its time with power scaling. It's not in a rush. We don't need to see the strongest being right out of the gate. It's what made shonen stuff great for me growing up. We have a problem, we solve it. We move on to the next one, it's a little bit bigger. My Hero Academia, I feel like, was good at that and then stopped being good at that. And I think that's when I started falling off, where it just screwed up its power scale of what we were doing and how far, like, because it's like, I like somewhere to go. It's like in a video game where it's just like, if I have all my powers right out of the gate, like, I want somewhere to go. I want a sense of progression. Because that's what these, what's the word that Brad always, or you're Brad, what's the word that Ben always uses?
What?
For these series that are like, oh, you're getting a little bit more powerful. Cultivation series, to an extent. Like, I want that. I need, and to do that, you need space on your scaling where you're not just instantly running towards the top, and then the last little bit is like a little
you always have
thing
to
you
fight
fill in.
God.
Yeah. Like maybe give me like a little taste. I think of video games where you start with, the thing that I love the most is a video game that starts with like, you have near end game powers, but not quite, but you have a taste of what you're going to be. And then you go back to square one. So you can go, I know I'm going here, but the games are the best ones because they leave a little bit of space after that spot. So you can be even more. The game Prototype comes to mind for some reason. The beginning of Prototype, you have like a bunch of all of your powers, and then you go back to like, I have one power and I'm uber weak, and it's just like, you will be this giant wrecking ball at some point. And I think that's what I want with this. Is like, make me take my time to slowly get better. Naruto, again, known for his Rasengan, hasn't used it yet.
Oh,
Naruto has 2 major techniques right now. I guess technically 3.
That won't show up for a long time.
Exactly. He has his shadow clones, which are a complete staple, which I love. They're a really fun like puzzle solver fighter. And he has transformation, which is mostly just harem no jutsu, sexy no jutsu, whatever you want to call it. Which like going back to that now, like that's a funny little gag. And the ways that like that plays then with the shadow clones, like that's funny. Then he tries to teach Konohamaru, and Konohamaru can't get it right. Like, I'm charmed. I'm charmed by this series. It's doing everything better in its first chapter and its first 27 chapters than so much stuff we're reading now. And I sound like such a fucking boomer saying that, but it's just like, it's doing the things that get frustrated with the new world. It's just like, we're 20-some chapters in, Ichi. I don't want to see the world-ending magic. I'm having a great time. Let me spend more time just meeting you guys and meeting the world. I don't want to rush towards the end, even if we're not going to go there for a while. And I don't know if it's just editorial constantly making it feel like they got to crack the whip at everything. It's just like, slow the F down. It's why I want to cover it after this. Like, I think for as fast as JJK Jujutsu Kaisen moves, I don't think it runs headfirst into endgame so fast. I think it plays into the background. Like, I love that you get to see all the bad guys together, but it's not in like a rush until he gets tired and he doesn't want to write anymore. But before that, the place that we've seen in the anime, at least for I'm assuming season 1 is essentially those first 3 volumes, if not more.
To be fair, in Jujutsu Kaisen, we do meet the end boss right away.
But we have space. We do other things before that. We have the whole like, and then we keep getting, Naruto, some of Naruto's later problem is then like, how do you make a bigger big bad? It's like, we spent so much time setting up Orochimaru, who's after that, and it's like, once we get to Shippuden, my ability to know things starts fading really badly. I know Pain's in there somewhere. There's some other guys I don't know. But, like, I think it's more interesting when you can be like, here's this other guy. We can plant seeds for him way earlier while we're dealing with this other thing, and it can slowly, like, again, that sensation of building up.
Yeah.
And setting seeds and not just being like... And I know I'm somebody who usually goes like, I want to get to the fireworks factory, but, like... I'm having fun. Like, cool things are happening. Relationships are being built. World building is being done at just the right pace without drowning me. Like, I did not expect to come into this first one being like, oh, Naruto's immaculate. Like, I'm really happy we did this.
Yeah. And I don't know that I would say immaculate, but, like, it's really good.
It's doing all this stuff really. Yeah, immaculate's maybe too strong a word, but, like, it's just, compared to everything, it's like, it's just doing all this stuff really good.
There were definitely too many things that jumped out to me. Although a lot of those were like, I only know this is a problem because I know where
future
this goes.
Vision. Yeah.
But there were enough things that were contradicted within a few chapters that I was like,
yeah, like, that's not, but it's like that, but we kept reading and had a good time. Like, not, like, and this is maybe an episode onto itself to make the case for this, but, like, I'm continuing to build and cook on this idea of just, like, what makes, I could say anything popular, but I'm going to say a manga popular, not good, not something that would make you individually like it. A thing that makes it popular is character over story. The particulars are kind of important, but they don't really matter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to save a lot of my cooking on that for something else we'll record at some point, I'm sure. I don't want to spend it all here because, A, we probably should land this recording soon, and B, this is not what this one's about necessarily. But, like, Naruto works because the characters in the situation are interesting. That is why people cosplay them. They cosplay them still. You can still see Atatsuki robes at weeb conventions, and you will until literally all of us anti-boomers are dead, and even then, maybe more.
That'll actually show up pretty soon. Because
a bunch of sports people wear them. It's really funny.
Yeah. Itachi and...
when do they show up? I don't even know.
It's
shark guy.
Yeah, it's not
when we meet everybody else, like, I kind of just...
It's not too long after they get back.
I kind of just want to keep reading Naruto in these 3-volume chunks and talking about it, honestly.
Because, Itachi and... God, what's his name?
Something
Kasame.
Kasame, that makes his sword.
Come to the village.
His sword, which connects back to Zabu's sword, that he's one of these great swords, and it's, like, cool.
Sadahame?
Sure, I don't know. But it's like, what a cool little, like, here's the thing. Here's a water guy with a sword. Here's another water guy with a sword. But they're not exactly related, but they are, like, world building. It makes you feel like paying attention is positive without drowning you.
Yeah.
Do I have any other points? I've already said, like, I want to keep reading this. It's really, it's funny to think about that before I had the idea for, like, let's do this style of the show, that my gag for the Naruto Pillar episode was going to be we were going to read the first chapter and the last chapter, which would have been so dumb. I still want to do that at some point, but I feel like it would have been really mean to have done that to Naruto. But I still think that's a really funny
first 3 volumes and the last chapter.
I think it's just still a really funny concept for any manga to read the first chapter and last chapter and go, what the fuck are we doing? But I don't want. I want to do that to a series I don't know very well, so I don't have to feel like I have to respect it as much. What are your thoughts, Brad?
This is good. I get it. It's so
I'm pulled back in.
Obvious to see why this is one of the most popular of all time.
Yep.
The fact that it got an anime very quickly, the fact that that anime is like a quintessential anime for anyone to watch.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
I don't think there's anything in the magazine. I think people said it was Kagurabachi. I don't think Kagurabachi's going to... Like, maybe it's just because I haven't read Kagurabachi in a while, and, like, that I fell off a while ago, and that maybe just because I haven't been paying attention. Like, I haven't not heard anything that's made... Not that I've been paying a lot of attention, but I haven't heard anything that made me go, oh, fuck, I need to go read Kagurabachi again.
I mean, if I compare this to what's currently in the magazine that is, like, really popular, Kagurabachi would definitely be one to compare it to, and... Kagurabachi's really, really good, but
it's not
this.
Just doing it. And Ichi's the next closest thing of, like, another big hit that it feels like they have, but it's like...
And Ichi just doesn't feel like this.
No, because Ichi's moving. And I want Ichi to slow down. Technically it's the thing that I would Jujutsu Kaisen. It's just like, I just want to spend time with these characters. I love these little guys. Again, characters more important than story.
Of course, that brings back something that I've discussed before, which is the fact that there's an axe hanging over the head of any one of these series a detriment to them?
I mean, I could make the same exact comparison to a completely different medium of like, I mean, I guess television in general. I mean, my specific thing is like cartoons, but it's just like everything is constantly just like, especially with streaming platforms, is like if you don't bring them in season 1, you're not going to make it. We're cutting you. And it's like a show needs to find its feet.
Yeah.
Like watching a reference that's not helpful because you don't know it. Like no one's going to know it really, but like by virtue of just what was on television, like I was in Disney and I was on the boat and they have Disney Channel just on there. So sometimes we're in the room just killing time. It's like, oh, I'm going to go see if Bluey's on. And sometimes a show called Big City Greens was on, which is a show that has gotten to live for a while on Disney, which doesn't normally happen, which is an animated cartoon. And seeing, again, from an earlier Disney trip years ago, early episodes of that to what they're doing now. And it's just like, this is a show that found its feet, that the writers found what the characters were, that the actors found what the characters are. And it's getting to hum along and have some really fun, wacky, zany adventures. But it only got to do that because it got to live long enough to find those feet and those grooves and those rhythms.
Yeah.
And the same goes for freaking anything like that. But in manga, it's even more so because it's chapter to chapter. It's not 22 minutes or 12 minutes of television. It's 25 pages, if that, a week.
Yeah.
But they have to do week by week instead of like season by season. Like, it's just not conducive to it. But somehow gems come out of this constant roving pit. And I don't think that means that you should have the pit. Because gems come out of things that aren't the pit. What?
This is the whiplash conversation. It's
yeah.
like, yeah, you can probably make a prodigy by treating someone like shit every once in a while.
Gems could come out of that, but also like the Jump Plus is not the grinding saw blades place, and a bunch of gems have popped up out of that. It's almost like not constantly having to be scared for your life.
This is what I've been saying for a while, is like things that don't work out in Jump shouldn't just die. They should go get to live someplace else. And that way, when a mangaka is writing these things, they don't need to be like, oh, am I going to get canceled? Oh, I need to write things in a way so I don't get canceled. Or if I do get canceled, that I can wrap it up. And it's just like, no, write the thing as it should be written.
As it should be, but also do you know, because like, I don't know, like there's certain series where it's just like, if you could let them breathe, they could become more than something. And there's some where it's just like, put this down, please.
No,
like, because it's like, that's my thing with like, Haku Taku is just like, you didn't know what you were doing on chapter 2, right. And not like you could like, and constantly I want to be like, you'll find your feet, and it just never found its feet. Yeah. It just kept constantly slipping on these banana peels it placed in front of itself, and like that's where it's like, no, let that go.
And Hakutaku is maybe not a great example, but no. I'll use it anyway. Could that have done something different if the manga wasn't like, I need to hook people immediately so I don't get canceled?
That's one where I don't know. But there's other ones where I do feel like if it could be given time, I mean, I have to look back on all the things that got canceled. But like, I mean, because I was reading it, I go back to MMA. Like, MMA was a solid series, and I think it was finding its feet more and more, and it just didn't get that ability to fully. And maybe it was just, I never know, stuff like that. But like, that was one where it's just like, I thought that was a solidly put together thing that could have been something.
Right.
And it didn't get to live, and it wasn't like like I said, sometimes you get a Shadow Eliminators or Dear Anemone where it's just like, or I don't want to say Shadow Eliminators too much. We didn't read the rest of that, but like Dear Anemone was just like, put this thing out of its misery. Like, this doesn't know what it's doing.
Right.
Like, sometimes it is let them cook and figure it out, but also it's just like, I don't know how you do that, and it's week by week. I just don't understand it, but people did it somehow.
If the farm actually exists, like, how many of these things look differently because
could anything graduate to Jump Plus?
Doesn't have an axe hanging over his head.
Oh my gosh, Brad, you need to read this week's chapter of Roboco and Me, because it is this. It is literally them making jokes about they have their own little magazine that they're writing for the school, and people leaving or finishing the series and what they're going to put in there. And is literally just commentary on the cutthroat kind of, what are we going to put in the magazine nature?
An out of context panel.
It's so they're short, it's fun. You don't need other things. It's so good. Please go read it. Everybody, please go read that chapter. I couldn't tell you the number right now because you're going to listen to this in the future.
The latest one on February 21st.
Yes. But no. I feel like we're going to harp on about, I think a lot of these magnums we're going to talk about, like, the magazine and what it's doing, and maybe maybe it's taking its time now. I think a bunch of things we thought would die aren't, and they get to stick around for a while, and I'm happy for that. So maybe it'll find its feet. Any closing statements? Are you gonna? I guess I've said it. Would you keep reading? Because I'm gonna keep reading.
I think I would. I don't know if I'm explicitly going to keep reading.
I'm going to.
But like,
this is going to replace Toriko as my like shonen thing. I'm digging my way through.
I think especially if I hadn't watched all of the anime already, I would definitely want to keep reading this.
That's, I guess, definitely some of it is like my leading up to like Sasuke retrieval arc and everything after that. Like, I'm really hazy. Like, I read long ago when we got Shonen Jump, the magazine in America, I randomly started reading during the Pain arc, but not at the beginning of it. So I just have like a tiny little weird little blip of that stuff and some of Shippuden. So it's like, it'll be nice.
Crazy place to peek back.
You know it. You know it. And like watching a Let's Play of the Naruto Ninja Storm games and being like, I don't know what's going on. So that's why I'm like, I'm excited to read it where I can shove all this in my head quicker than trying to watch anime or play a video game. And like, it's going to take me a billion years.
There is an interesting thing there because I found while reading these first 27 chapters, some of the chapters went really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And then some of them took a long time.
It's wild to me how much things kind of quote unquote, I don't feel this, but just if I think about it hard, it is this statement, but I didn't feel it when I was reading it. When they're doing the chakra training after they've fought Zabuza the first time, it feels like we're there for a couple chapters. Yeah. And that feels slow, but altogether it just feels like when I think about it, it's slow. Because it seems like a lot for not really, but also like you're learning the boys' backstory, they're learning about chakra things. Like it didn't feel slow, but when I thought about it, when it was so just like this chapter we meet this character, this chapter we're having this fight, and this fight, and this fight, like it just felt like a while, but it was a nice little downtime to have. And maybe if I was reading week by week, I'd be more upset with it. But like altogether, it just feels great. It feels like it moves at a really pleasant pace. Yeah.
I'm interested to know if, like, who hasn't experienced Naruto? And
I don't know if the new generation has or not, because new generation has, like, theirs is like Demon Slayer and technically Jujutsu Kaisen and maybe My Hero. Yeah. I feel like is their shonen pillar of that era.
But Naruto's so big.
I used to get down on it, but after reading this, and maybe my opinion will sour as I get further into it and more bullshit happens, but like, I'm having a blast, guys. I'm having a great time, and I would super recommend Naruto if you have never touched it before. But yeah. I don't know if there's other segments yet. The show does not have segments, really. It's a new thing. It's just an offshoot.
How does this work?
Thanks, everybody, for listening. I don't know how often these will happen. Probably when the mood strikes. I would if I could give the vaguest of structures, maybe seasonally, but I wouldn't hold your breath. To call my shot that I'm free to disregard in the future. Hello, JoJo January. I think I want to cover Jujutsu Kaisen next to make a direct line between this and it, and then after that, I want to cover Bleach as a contemporary to Naruto, somewhat. But we'll see. Or maybe you have your own suggestion. Let us know at the socials that Brad will tell you about in a moment when he hits you with them plugs.
Well, we need to thank Sugoi Mart for partnering with us. Sugoi Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch that you can't get outside of Japan. Our listeners can check the link in the description or use code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off their first order. If you'd like to talk to us about Naruto or any of the things that we cover, you're going to want to go out on our website, animepodcasterreincarnation.com, and find the social links on the page up there, where you can find links to all our various social media platforms, as well as our Discord, which is the best place to come and chat with us. As well as Discord, you can find links to our Patreon. Our supporters get perks like getting to vote on which series we cover on hair addiction, bonus episodes, as well as getting the high-quality stereo version of this podcast early. And, of course, we'd love to hear from you about what you'd like to hear. And, of course, we need to shout out our patrons, as always. So, first and foremost, at our noble tier, we have our marquee, Sir Cake Dwarf. At our reincarnator tier, we've got Moon. And last but not least, at our commoner tier, we've got Rena and Kill Hour. So thank you so much to all our patrons.
Thank you, Brad, for that. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you listen to all the various podcasts on our feed. And Do I end with gags here? I don't even know. I feel like I just say .io believe it, right? Give me a .io on 3 together. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Believe it.
Fuck! I wanted to make the joke about, is it Star of Beethoven? That's what it's called, of reincarnated in the same world as Beethoven. P.S. I am also Beethoven already. I just love the concept. Yeah, reincarnated in the same world as Beethoven. Also, I was Beethoven before, and now I'm still Beethoven. but reincarnated. Reincarnated in myself. I, myself, am Beethoven.
What a weird series.
Beethoven himself is doing a lot of heavy lifting for me on that series.
People on Flop Court are really into it.
I have not. I don't think I got into the thread. I need to get into the thread. Like it's weird. It's weirdly winning me over. I think it's just because Beethoven gives me Andy from Undead Unluck energy. Is that he has this weird like crazed expression on, and he just is like he just monologues about how cool and interesting music is, and I find that fascinating. He's like, I've got a second lease on life. Fuck yeah.
The main character, Protag Kun, is not.
No, but like I think because for me Beethoven's such a pillar that the boy might be able to turn around, but also it's like he's not what I'm there for. Yeah. It's Beethoven. Beethoven's rocking it.
But again, the monologuing is
awesome.
Insane.
Love it. So
it's
good.
It's just like I feel like the author was just like, what is the most grandiose thing that I can say about music?
That's
at this
awesome.
point? And then writes a chapter around
all
it.
Killer, no filler. It's why I've been loving reading Toriko, because it's just like that manga's about fucking nothing, but it's also about food, but it's just like, what's a random crazy thing we can start doing right now? Like it just goes by not rule of cool necessarily, but just rule of like, check out this fucking thing. Yeah. Rule of excitement.
Yeah. What are we even doing right now?
I didn't even write us what our gags are because I think I was collecting too much other information. I'm gonna do a different. I'm gonna do howdy folks.
Do we have those?
You tell me, bud.
How do you get a hold of us?
You tell me, Haas. Okay, boss. It's already platinum. Freaking press that on a record. It's done. That was perfect. You're a genius. You're both taller and funnier than me, and I respect you greatly. Well, stop being in a cold basement.
You just lobbed the softball.
I know.
I was like, what do you want me to do?
I appreciate it. What do you want me to do? Not hit home runs every time? I feel like we have to get in the car and we have to listen to Fighting Dreamers.
We can do that.